Okay, so we're at the Historic Howell Theater. The theater itself turns 97 in December. So we're starting off with,
Sag or Capricorn?
yeah, I don't know. So what's a movie that kind of, that you liked growing up or got you into movies, or was there a certain movie that you kind of got into acting that way, or a movie that you liked going to the theater?
I went to the movies a lot growing up. I think one of my favorite movies that maybe helped me get interested in acting was 16 Candles.
Nice.
I think it's one of the best movies ever made.
What about that movie that kind of drew you in? Was it the characters?
The characters, the story. I mean, it was the 80s. Jake, yeah. I mean, Jake Ryan, wow. Let's just talk about that for a second. And then as I got older, movies like True Romance. There's an old movie from the 50s called Anti-Mame that I think is the best movie ever made with Rosalind Russell. If you have not seen it, you must. But yeah, I don't know. I love cinema.
Yeah. How about you?
I love that. My mom gave me 16 Candles when I was a kid, and forgot what it was about. And she was like, "Oh well." But anyway, my first movie that I fell in love with was Harriet the Spy.
Nice.
R.I.P. Michelle
Yeah.
Trachtenberg. She was literally my hero when I was a kid. But Harriet the Spy, there's something about. I was literally obsessed. Like, I would make a friend of mine watch it over and over and over again, and but that orange VHS. But there was something about it where I just felt like she was so ambitious, and she knew what she wanted. She knew what she wanted to do with her life. She was like, "I'm going to be a writer," and she just like went out and, in her own childhood way, was really trying to do it and pursuing it. And I started dressing like a spy, and would walk around my neighborhood and write in my notebook and be like, "They're in the garden today," and stand on the sidewalk.
Believe her.
And I'd come home and my mom would be like, "So what are the neighbors doing?" And I'm like, "They're gardening." She's like, "Wow, you're so creepy." And then I started writing scripts and acting out stories with my friends because of that, and that just led me to doing theater and
Awesome. So for Terrifier, what was the casting process like for you two? How did you get cast in the movie, or how did you approach getting into Terrifier 2?
I got the audition through my agent at the time. It was actually for Allie's mom. And I went through the process, and I was cast as Allie's mom. And then I got a call from Damien, and he said, "Hey, can you read for a different role?" I don't know if they had lost their actress or whatever happened, but I read for Sienna's mom. And he did a little swap, and that's where we are.
And for your role, I guess in the commentary, he mentions how it's based off of his mom. Did he talk to you about that at all?
He did. And then I met his mom at the premiere, and she said she hated my character. So I was like, sorry. But yeah, I think she had, or his mom was just very, F you, whatever, don't screw it up, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah.
How did it change from the original character description of that script to the final? Was there anything different from him talking to you to the actual movie at all?
We didn't really have a table read or any sort of conversation, so I went into the role blind, and I was just going to play her nice and a mom, and then he was like, "No, you have to be meaner, and you have to be meaner, and you have to be meaner, and you have to do this." And so it was just scrambled eggs for me, and then I was just like, okay, and then she just became shrewd and awful, and I kept her unhinged, but truly, that was his idea. I had no idea what to do with her, and yeah, she evolved.
Did you draw from anything? Did you draw from any kind of experience or?
My mom was a real hard ass, and the dinner scene is my mom.
Okay.
It just straight up, and certain things are my mom, and she hates it when I say that, but
What should we look for your mom in the movie? What are those things that that like, is there one thing that you can describe that would be like, oh, that's her?
Let me think of that. Nothing got past my mom. My mom is about that big, and she's the most terrifying person on the face of the earth. And like, she would just cut you off at the chase. No. Or maybe when I tell Jonathan to put his cereal bowl in the sink. That's my mom. Like, yeah, put your goddamn bowl in the sink. Don't make me tell you again what the wrong with you. Like, that's my mom. So, I don't know. Sorry, Mom.
How about for you?
Yeah, I auditioned. Auditioned for 2 roles, and he thought Allie would be good for me. So then I did a callback. I did like a callback that was essentially a chemistry read with Lauren Sienna, and there were 2 of us. It was literally just me and one other girl, and we were like, is this it? We were like, what's happening? And we each did a read with Lauren. Lauren didn't even know she officially had the role at that point. So we just thought this was just a fun callback, but which it was. But and then the 3rd audition, he wanted me to do like a screaming scene to see how far I could go with it. And I was like, okay. So of all the auditions, this is the one you want me to do from my apartment. That's fine. So so I did. I actually auditioned with another character's kill scene, just because it was, I guess, easier like audition-wise. But I was just screaming bloody murder, and then there was a knock at my door. And my neighbor came up and was like, hey, everything fine? And I was like, hey, we're good. They were just like, yeah, just wasn't sure if you were like getting murdered or having really weird sex. Like, I just wasn't sure what was going on, but I'm glad it was neither of those things. And I'm like, no, it's fine. I'm an actor. I'm sorry. I should put a note on my door next time. But so I didn't do it again because I didn't want to scare anyone else. And I just sent him that, and I emailed him and was like, hey, I did this and my neighbor came to check on me, so hopefully this is good enough for you too. And he was like, yeah, that's great, perfect. So yeah, that was my audition process, really, yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Did you draw from anything else that like with her mom? Did you draw anything that like kind of brought that character alive to you?
Yeah, I think so. I was doing a play at the time where my character was dealing with a lot of like mental health, like manic and depressive and stuff like that, and she was in the hospital. And so I was coming from a place where I had a very strong empathy towards characters dealing with mental health issues. So when it came to Allie and Sienna, in particular, versus like Brooke and Sienna, and kind of rounding out our friendship group. One of the lines that I had was in the candy store after school, and it was like, "Did you change medications recently?" And so I went to Damien and I was like, "I feel like you wrote this in sort of a playful way, but like I feel like if she is really dealing with stuff and she really is taking medication for her anxiety or whatever, I know this about her. I don't want to joke about it because we already have the jokes with Brooke." So we talked about that, and I just in that moment became like the empathetic friend, and like where like our friendship went was like where I knew what I was concerned I was concerned about what was going on. I was like, oh my God, you saw a fire, like, are you okay? Like, what's going on? So that brought that level, so that's kind of how that depth of their friendship was formed, was from that place of empathy for what she was going through. Yeah.
And like, how was it seeing it all kind of come together on screen, like from filming it to like your death scenes, like was it what you imagined from like his vision to the finale, like where you're like, wow, this is like really more fucked up than I thought it was going to be, or like
Yes. we had never met, and then we did a premiere in Austin together, and oh my God, I just leaned over and said, "What is wrong with you?" And it was just your kill scene. Oh my God. And then my kill scene, I didn't know. And it was like, oh my God. And then it was just, it was a lot. But it was good.
It was a lot.
But like your head, like, you just filmed that little part, but then you come back later and you're just like my head exploded. Like, just did you expect that to even like on this page? Did that really translate to what you read to the screen of like?
So I knew I got shot, and I knew the head bounced on the wall. I did not know about the mashed potatoes at all, and I was kind of offended. When I saw it, and I was like, I sat in goo for 4 hours making a cast of my head for that, and then it was like, well, no, that's iconic. That's actually amazing. And no, I had no idea about it. Absolutely none. It was crazy, just crazy.
What was the goo process like to get your head cast? I mean, were you used to that at all at the time, or was that like had you done that kind of?
No, it was my first. It was really scary. I've done it since then. You're kind of just in the black, dark. Your ears, everything. They have like straws in your nose so you can breathe.
Were they really up your? Did they have straws in your nose?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then they just pour the goo over, and you just hear Phil's voice. Oh God. And it was like, knock if you need to come out of it or something. And I was like, why am I not reassured in this moment right now? But yeah, you did it and pulled it out, and then there's your face, and it was just, it's wild.
Did you get to keep anything of like your head or anything, like the molds or anything like that?
No, I actually think Barb's carcass is still in Kanajahari, New York, scattered in a field. Yeah, I still think she's out there rotting.
Oh, okay.
I really do. I think she's somewhere in the back of the studio.
I hope she's decomposed by now. Well, not entirely.
Not entirely. That stuff
That's a
lasts
long
forever.
time.
Yeah. So
Maybe
scavenger
like
hunt.
The sequel, maybe we could.
Dig her up.
Yeah.
Oh God, the smell.
It's also like Amish country.
Yeah.
Like it is. Like we were filming, and I just remember seeing like children walking through a field, and I was like, oh, okay.
And the buggies.
And then we're all like
The
covered in
horse
blood.
carriages. Yeah. And then we were like filming murder scenes, and like it was like
And
yeah.
they're all like peaceful, like walking through fields, like being like, riding their buggies, and we're like getting murdered.
This is why we don't associate with the outside world.
It makes sense. But yeah, I thought that was ironic.
But how was your death scene compared to like the script to the finale? Like, what did you when you saw that at the premiere? Like, you're like, wow, this is.
I forgot he ripped my face off. So I watched that and I was like, when did he rip my face off? Because like it looked so good, but like because when I was acting, I didn't see him reach over and rip my face because it was obviously CGI. It was obviously edited in. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, he did not rip my face off on set. I don't remember this happening, but it looked so good. But so there were things that were added in, like in post, anyway. But yeah, I would say when I read the script, I think it was, I think like to the screen, like from script to screen, what was in the script was not as bad.
Agreed.
He kind of went to the drawing board a bit, especially during the pandemic. We started filming, so it was not as, like it was basically like she gets scalped and skinned alive and whatnot. But like there were like
this is for me. I mean, why did you like? What
All
made
that
you,
Meisner training.
like how did you?
yeah.
Yeah.
How did like what made me want to do it?
Yeah.
Well, so I auditioned, and then he called me and was like, "I just want you to know that this is going to happen to your character. Like, it's going to be like a skinned alive thing. It's based off of like a Jack the Ripper kill that like it's like that actually happened, I suppose." And I was just like, I was kind of just like, all right, challenge accepted. How bad could it be? I was like, okay. I mean, when I read it, it's obviously like crazy and heartbreaking, but you also know that it's fake. And when you're doing it, when you're filming it, you know it's fake. Like, because you have to film it. We filmed it over 5 days. But yeah, I don't think I quite knew just upon reading it how in depth it would be. I don't think I quite, because I hadn't done that much in depth work with prosthetics before. And then I also got like a life cast, and so I was just kind of like, challenge accepted. Let's see how this goes. And it ended up being, yeah, like 5 days of us like adding prosthetics and then taking them off, adding them all again the next day, screaming, blood, getting stuck to the floor, like, you know, all the good stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I wasn't scared of it for some reason. I don't know why. I was just like, that's cool. Let's try it.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't like intimidated by it for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah. And like being two icons in these scenes, how do you like people see, like, how do you deal with that kind of iconicness of your career, of being in a movie that like having a legacy to that, to your filmography, to your acting careers? Like, I mean, it's like you're part of film history. I mean, it's even though it's Terrifier. I mean, it's an iconic horror movie. I mean, it's a big deal in your careers. That, how do you go about all that?
I think I still don't believe that it's iconic. It's weird. It's like, do you know what I mean? Like, I think because it's just me, I'm like, I just did a thing. But like, if I were from an outsider's perspective, if I were looking in, I'd be like, damn, that was an iconic kill, which it is, and I still think it is. But I just, because it's me, like, I'm just like, my life is normal. What are you guys talking about? Do you know what I mean?
Have you had like friends that have seen it and just like, what was like?
Yes.
I don't know, like how have your like family or friends reacted to these moments in the movie?
My mom and dad went and saw it at the theater, and I just got a text after that said, "Oh my," and it was, you know, thanks for the support. But no, I mean, it's good. It's fun. It's good humor. It's pop culture. You know, you have to take it all with, you know, in fun, really.
Yeah. Okay.
I think I'm coming to, like, I think it's just settling in still. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I think, yeah. But it's great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. I know. It just like, what about the resistance of it? Like, you seem like you're not fully.
No, I think it's just weird to consider yourself an icon.
Yes.
Like, I think that's my thing, is I'm like, I don't know. It's just.
It's great, but it's not
it is.
something that you can really put on your reel. For casting directors and be like, hey, look at this. Everybody else loves it. And it's, you know, it's just, it's a very specific genre.
Yeah.
It's amazing. The response has been amazing. But in terms of like career movement on it, you know, specific.
Yeah.
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 I think I'm really grateful for the response that it's gotten. I'm grateful to be a part of a project that has gotten a response like this, to be honest with you, because I do mostly indie films, and like 100 people see it. It goes to a festival, very few people see it, and then we move on. It might be on a streaming platform, but this is the first time I'm a part of something that has gotten this big of a response, and so I'm just very, like, just riding in that gratitude, I think, for being a part of something like that. So that's why I'm like, still, I don't know. But yeah, it's wild. It's cool and it's great, and it's been really fun to have that.
So how would you describe the Terrifier fans?
Well,
like seeing Art the Clowns is here is bizarre, and trying not to look out to see art looking
Dedicated.
At me, yeah.
Dedicated and
Love
insane and amazing and fun and this would not be as amazing of a ride that it's been without you guys, to be
Yeah.
honest. So,
And also just people have been so kind.
Yes.
And I really, I just have appreciated that people are just genuinely good, kind people who have come up to us and have expressed their, love of the movies and the fandom and everything like that. So it's been great. I mean, coming into this, a lot of people who were like from the first film were like just the people are so kind and just so they just receive the work so nicely, and it's just nice to be a part of something that people like appreciate, and you can see that in the community too, that everyone shares that love and the appreciation for the genre and for the films, and it's really nice.
Cool. So with Damien as the director, what kind of direction would he give you to making the movie? Was there certain, like, for kind of up and coming indie filmmakers here, like, what would be your advice, or kind of how you were given direction for this movie that you'd kind of I don't know.
I don't know for my character. Mine was just always be meaner. Be meaner. Meaner.
What did he give you? Any, like, some directors like give, like, oh, listen to this song, or think of this wardrobe. Was there any kind of way to get into, like, subtext to it at all, or is it just be me and that was all he would do?
No, that was it. Just be me, and that. Yeah, really, truly, that was it.
Okay.
So.
Well, the big thing for me was that the kill scene had to be like Cape Fear times 1,000. So that was like his big like direction of like, that was his big note for me, was basically like, yeah, the other scenes, we'll do them and you'll do your thing. And for the kill scene, he's like, it's just like Cape Fear times 1,000. And he was really, this was the scene that was supposed to be the topper for Catherine's hacksaw scene. So he was really dedicated to making it that way. So that was just a lot of screaming.
Yeah.
Just a lot of that, dying, screaming.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I will say, as like a compliment to him for any aspiring directors, if there was anything going on behind the scenes, we didn't know about it. The set was always light and funny. You were there to do your job, and there was a lot of humor in all of the scenes because it was very heavy. But if anything was going wrong, he took it like a champ and like thought on his feet, and we modified, and we all just worked as a team, and that was it. So,
Yeah.
I mean, that's a real big compliment to him.
You never knew he was stressed,
Yeah.
ever, and he was always stressed. But you never knew it, and you never knew he wasn't sleeping either. We all knew he wasn't sleeping, and we tried to get him to sleep, but he was like, I got to do this. So, but yeah.
Awesome. So are you ready for Q&A? Are we golden?
Of course.
Okay. Any questions? Who's ready for the first question? Are we? What do you grab the mic here? Okay. Yell your question.
I believe after filming, I thought I saw Damien say, and Justin Fulham as well say, that they wanted you to not hold back after you were called a bitch. Did you really slap John?
Oh, the shit out of him.
And on a scale of 1 to 10, what do you think you hit him?
24. Made a deal with Elliot. I said, I promise you I will get it on the first take. And he said, please don't break my glasses. And I did, and I remember like, no, I did not. I did not, because I would have had to replace them. And they were really nice. And I remember lining my hand up and just being like, you got this. You can do this. And I was like, are you okay? There's like a little behind the scenes video. I don't know if anyone's ever seen. And I just remember grabbing him and being like, are you okay? And he's like, my ear's ringing. And I was like, but he took it like a champ, man. He really did. First time. Ow. We were out. And it was like 4 a.m. when we did that. And it was like 3 degrees where we were shooting. it was a night.
My turn? Okay. Were you two aware of the original, the first one, and then also, have you ever been to a horror convention before it? Did you know that your lives would change in the horror community? I mean, no matter how small your role is, you can go do autographs every weekend somewhere, and make a living off of that. Were you aware of the convention circuit?
Entirely oblivious. I had, this is a great question, but I had heard of Comic-Con. I knew that existed. I didn't know it was as big specifically for the horror community, and I think that's great. I think it's phenomenal. But yeah, I hadn't seen the first film. I actually hadn't heard of it. My friend, I got the audition, and a friend of mine that I went to acting school with, he was like, "Oh my God, Terrifier! You're auditioning for the second Terrifier movie." He's like, "My sister and I watched that. It's on Netflix." And I was like, "Oh my God, amazing!" And he's like, "Yeah, this is great." And he was like so excited about it. And that got me excited about it because I was like, "How have I never heard of this if it's on Netflix?" But I didn't watch it till after I auditioned, just because I didn't want to be influenced. And then I watched it, and yeah, the hacksaw scene. I was like, "Ouch, that's bad." But then on my first day, or one of the first days of filming, David mentioned like the fans and like and I was like, kind of just like, "What are you talking about? Fans? Like, what? What does this mean?" So I was oblivious to that, but it was a very pleasant surprise. And it was, I don't know, it's been a really fun ride since, yeah.
I had not seen it either, nor had heard of it. Watched it after booking it and questioned accepting the job. But then, yeah, I mean, you go in, you do it. And I did not know about the conventions, and they've been amazing and fun. And you get to meet so many cool people. So actors, fans, just, I don't know. It's been really wild.
I was wondering about if you watch like a lot of the old like Friday the 13th movies and stuff, they kind of all the supporting characters are pretty much just cannon fodder, whereas this one you actually care about the characters and stuff. Did Damien ever talk about that, like that he was trying to do things different than those movies, or?
I don't remember there being a conversation, but it kind of flowed in the script, and then the chemistry on set I felt like was there. For my character, I remember him saying, "I just want people to really hate you." So that when you die, everyone's like, "Yes!" And someone actually paid me a really nice compliment last weekend and said, "I hated you the entire movie until you died. And then I realized how much I loved to hate you." And I was like, "You got it." And it was just such a nice thing to say, instead of just, just being like mean and being like, "Oh, I hate your character." She was like, "I missed you." And I was like, "Thank you so much." But yeah, I mean.
I don't think there was a conversation about it, at least not to me, about like Allie and Brooke in particular, but I found it really interesting by sort of what happened collaboratively. Like, again, we got along on set, so like we kind of formed, and we filmed the school scenes like early on in the process. So the three of us, me, Kaylee, and Lauren, got to be together and like work together before kind of branching out. But I found it really interesting that usually I found it interesting that like people cared about Allie so much, and were like, we wanted, not that people didn't like Brooke, because I think Brooke is a fantastic character, but people are usually just like, oh, but it's usually like characters that you don't love so much that die like before other characters. So I think that people were. I found it an interesting twist to the typical horror tropes. Why that Allie ended up being so likable, and dying sooner than you may have wanted her to, or I wanted her to. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, and so I think. Yeah, I think I think he played with tropes very well, and sort of putting a twist to it with some of the characters. Yeah.
Cool.
Is there any like on-set pranks or like trying to scare each other going on?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember specific ones, but yes, there definitely were. I'm like, there's always jokes happening, though. But
I don't remember anything specific, but there were times you couldn't get through scenes.
yeah,
It was just off the rails.
yeah,
And the Levy brothers, who are part of the producers, they're just like
always on
a
it.
comedy act. So, yeah,
Yeah,
it was always very light.
yeah.
Were there any aspects of your characters that you really struggled to get into and had to find some other like outlet or some other inspiration to really get yourself in character to make it good on screen?
Good question.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think I struggled the whole time. Because her being so mean, I don't think she. It just, thank you. Just kind of finding a way to blend it and to navigate it. And, you're filming the scenes one week and then you're off and then you're back. And it's just sort of, you never know what's going to happen in the editing room.
Right.
So that's you have no control over that. So, yeah.
Was there anything that was cut from two, do you know, or was it, I know it's
I don't think anything was cut from two.
I mean, there were things cut from it, but
I don't know. Maybe some of Lauren's stuff.
yeah. Well, we had something in between the school scene and like we were like walking to her car, and he just cut that. I also had laryngitis that day, so it was a rough day. So we had to do some ADR for that, but for the school scenes. But and yeah, so there's like a portion of that I know didn't make it in, and I don't know if that was because of my laryngitis or not, but who knows?
You also don't get the full script.
That's true.
So you get what he wants you to have. So you don't really know about the other scenes or what's going on with filming. And he adds in a lot of stuff sporadically too. Like my little pale girl scene. I got a phone call that was like, hey, can you come to Philly? And it was like 6 p.m. and I needed to be there by midnight. And I was like, sure. And then that happened. And so little things like that. It was ever evolving. So
That was last minute.
yeah, and then
That's a fantastic. Congratulations.
why, thank you.
You're just amazing.
What was
Wow.
amazing is, so I get on the train to go home, and it's like 6:37 in the morning, and I still have all the blood on me, and I'm like sleeping on the train, and all of a sudden I feel, and I look up, and the ponytail is done, and there's blood, and the conductor goes, "Are you okay?" It's like, great, man, just great. Like, yeah, like all good. Need to shower.
But how was that not getting the full? I mean, like, how was your feelings on not having the full script, the full vision? Like, how could you even prepare for not seeing the full canvas of, you just know your part and like your moments? I guess that matters, but
Yeah, you just know your parts and your moments, and because I didn't really have anything to do with anyone else other than Elliot and
Yeah.
Lauren. So that was my world. And then David, I met him one day and then he shot me. So that was short-lived.
I think he gave most people the script up till their death. I only had the script up to my death, so that's all I knew. I had no idea, anything beyond that. So I was just developing all my character work and relationship work off of those pages. So, yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Did you enjoy getting to see the rest of the film afterwards, not knowing what it was going to be?
Yes.
Did you have a moment that was the most surprising to you? Maybe other characters' deaths or anything in that range?
Yeah.
I was blown away by the talent in the film. I think Jonah and Brooke, Kaylee, and they were phenomenal. I was really blown away. And the chemistry with watching the other actors on screen, I think that was my favorite part about seeing the whole thing come to life, really.
I loved the Halloween party. Even just like with Kaylee and Charlie, who played Jeff, their whole relationship and chemistry was just fantastic, and they played off of each other so well. So I thought it was. I just thought that whole portion of the film was just really fun to see. Yeah, and I wish I had been there, but you know what? It's okay.
You were there in spirit.
Yeah, I was. They had no idea. I was haunting it. I really was.
How about seeing Art the Clown for the first time on set? How was it seeing him in the makeup and seeing him there?
It's really scary. It really is. He's a master at what he does. It is petrifying. There's a slowness to his mannerisms.
Are they taking notes? The arts in the crowd?
Yeah, and he's very methodical, and gosh, it was scary. And then when he would break, he couldn't take off the makeup to eat. So it would be like, I'm still scared of you.
And then he would have Q-tips up his nose because of the makeup, and he couldn't, to keep his nose from running, I suppose.
Behind the scenes.
But then also, like, in between takes, he would just, like, in full art costume, he'd just be like, "Hey, how's it going? You good?" And you're just like, yeah, I'm good." So, like, it was an interesting contrast. But yeah, he is phenomenal he's such a great physical actor. And I know he studied a lot of silent films and Charlie Chaplin and things like that. But it was just a fun contrast between, like, seeing him doing the creepy movements and then him just being like, "All right, what's up? How's it going with you?" And, like, still in full makeup and yeah. So I don't know. It was just fascinating to watch, I think.
Cool.
Did you have a hard time maybe decompressing from the character that you put so much into?
Yeah. I would come home after a week on set, and my husband would just look at me and be like, "Could you not be Barb? Like, just whatever you're doing up there, just leave it. Don't bring it down here." So don't bring work home. Exactly. Because you just get wound up and you stay wound up. And our shooting conditions were intense. It was cold. The house was uncomfortable. And you're just you get into a headspace. So yeah, it took me a couple days to sort of, and you're exhausted. So you kind of unwind and then go right back into it.
I don't think for me, Allie was that intense, but I have had acting roles where I have had to decompress after. But I would say after the kill scene, I actually, it was like my birthday right after I filmed that, and I went on a road trip with myself. We were upstate New York, and I went to, like, Silver Spring and then through Vermont to New Hampshire, and in the middle of a blizzard also, because this was December. And I just, like gave myself that time because I was like, you know what? It was also 2020, so it was like still pandemic times. So I just went on a solo road trip for my birthday by myself and was just like, just let myself sort of process everything, what we had just done. And yeah, so I think having that time to just get out of my head and decompress and whatnot was really nice after, especially after the kill scene, because that was an intense 5 days. But yeah. Yeah.
Inquiring minds. Yes, sir. You in the back there.
What was your favorite part about filming your guys' kill scenes?
Mine was short and sweet. Dave and I went to McDonald's that morning. Got some cheeseburgers. And then he shot me. And that was my last day of filming. And then they gave me a cake. And I said goodbye.
I didn't get a cake, but whatever. But my favorite part of the kill scene. I think
Was it the salt? Was it the bleach? Was it
it was just all of it.
the scalping? Was it?
I think my favorite part of the kill scene was the eye slash because it was so I was clothed and well, sorry, I wasn't naked in this movie, but I had the sweater thing on, and it was it was just the easiest part of it. No, but I think yeah, everything else was just cold and bloody, like very cold because it was December. So so like I think it was just exciting, like getting. I don't know. It was a lot. It's like all a blur. I don't know. I'm not making sense anymore.
Was the isolate like a prosthetic or was that?
It was.
Oh.
Yeah, it was a prosthetic. So he had a whole prosthetic over. Was it my right eye? I think it's my left eye.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he had just had a whole prosthetic over my eye, and that's yeah. And then like as he slashes it, he had blood squirt down my face. So I'm like kneeling there, like, and there's just blood happening, and then he does the saw or the scalping, and then there's just more blood happening, and I was just sitting there like, yep, I'm just taking this all in right now. But I think it was I've never done that before, so I'm glad I experienced it, honestly.
Do you think personally horror is a genre that you guys want to stick to when it comes to future roles, or is it kind of a one and done, maybe if it happens again kind of thing, or is it something you guys both really enjoyed and want to do in the future?
It's a great question. I do like horror movies, and I do want to do more horror movies. I do want to do different subgenres of horror. I want to do like psychological. I love psychological horror, and I also love ghost stories. I'm like obsessed with ghosts. Like this place is supposedly haunted, and I want to meet them. Like I'm like obsessed.
I keep looking at the projector for Ghost. I'm like
I want to do like like paranormal or like that kind of thing. Anyway, but like so yeah, I am definitely very into the whole horror thing and how you get to use your imagination in that way. I also come from a drama background, so I did a lot of dramas coming out of acting school and stuff, and that turned into thrillers and that turned into horror. So I want to do a mix of stuff, but I definitely still find horror very intriguing as an actor. And yeah.
I love it. Yeah, I got to do 2 more horror projects shortly after Terrifier, and they were both really fun, both really different. So I'm really excited about one of them. Yeah, I get to be the bad guy.
What are those movies? Name drop the movies. Come on.
So this one's called Infestation. I can't really say the name of the other one because I'm not sure it's ever going to see the light of day, unfortunately. Fingers crossed it will. But yeah, the prosthetics were amazing. The crew, it was with the guys from Slash Tag Cinema. They're out in LA, and they're just pumping out some amazing short horror films. And this one was really crazy fun. Crazy fun. So, yeah, super excited.
So are you two big fans of the Halloween season at all? Or like, is that bizarre to see like the Terrifier decorations and people in costume? Like, is Halloween just like, oh no, I'm like, is a love-hate with like during Halloween, or you embrace Halloween and
I
like,
love
people in
Halloween.
I love Halloween.
It's my
Yeah.
my birthday
It's
is
your
2 days before,
Oh, right.
so like it's always been my jam. It's the best day of the year. And yeah, Art the Clown's everywhere. Why not?
Yeah.
There we go.
I
Yeah,
think it's
yeah.
the best holiday. But well, I don't know. But it's one of my favorite holidays, we'll say.
Yeah.
And I think now it's so fun to see the Terrifier stuff. It's like, oh, that's like a thing that I was a part of, and it's so fun to see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say around Halloween when it's on, just airing every streaming service, I don't know, personally, I'll be on the train and all of a sudden you just see the phone go up and it's like, yes, I am Barb, I am she is me. Yes, you've got it.
Cool.
You can't hide.
Maybe 2 more questions.
You guys probably get this a lot, but what are some dream roles that you guys have?
I would I don't take a foot, take an arm, take whatever you need to be on the pit or to be in Yellow Jackets. Those are two of my favorite shows on right now, and I think they're brilliant. And the acting is amazing, and the storytelling is phenomenal.
I think dream role types for me, one would be White Lotus. I love that. And I also love traveling. So I just love the concept. Like, I just want to travel. No, but I love the concept because being conscious about That's so scary.
Well played.
I also love I want to play an axe murderer. No. I also
Yeah, these are the best here.
one type of role too that I reference is Jenny from Forrest Gump. Why?
No,
Why
it's
is that
wonderful.
funny? I love period pieces, and I want to do I love the '60s. I love the whole her whole character arc of just what everything she goes through. I don't know. There's something about Jenny and the movie Forrest Gump, Jenny and Forrest Gump, and also White Lotus that I find really intriguing. Yeah.
One more question.
So I know at a prior Q&A I went to Damien saying that he's really involved in makeup and kind of struggles to keep his hand away from touching things up during shooting. When you guys had your death scenes, how involved was he in that?
Entirely. Well, for me though, mine was during the pandemic, so we didn't have as big of a crew. So he was basically doing everything. But I mean, even with the hair and makeup help that he had, and Phil, some of the other folks on set were able to help out with that as well. But he was really leading all of it. So it was, yeah.
Yeah, when I did Little Pale Girl, he did all the makeup, put the contacts in the eyes, the teeth. Because I had to have teeth made, so we had that. He would send me pictures of wigs, which one matches your hair the best, and everything from top to bottom. He was hands on. Loved it. He loves it.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
We did it.
Yeah. Awesome. Who's ready for watch Terrifier 2? Well, thank you again for coming in and doing the Q&A.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you guys for all
Thank
coming
you.
out. It means the world. Thank you. Thank you.